What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Yeah, if I put these videos out quicker, it is Easter Sunday, so if you guys are watching this, I mean, it's probably gonna be in a week, but happy Easter. So picking up where we left off, literally. So I got the garage stuff cleaned up a little bit, but it's time to slap the turbo back on. We're going to kind of start running these a little bit. Gotta get these kind of zip tied and get a bracket going for these. But slap the turbo back on. Yeah, we got a lot to do. Slap turbo on, radiator in, build the upper intercooler piping, run wires for the boost controller. You got to rewire the fan for the radiator. So lots of stuff to do. So you know how it is. I'm gonna kick on the time lapse. Get our ass to work. Got that bad unit on there, you guys. Turbo's all bolted back up. Yeah, got oil feed, oil drain, got the E-maps, EGTs. Slap some zip ties on there. It looks real good. It's tucked back there. Yes, it's looking real good. Waiting on that water neck from Raven Fab. I'm gonna have to get that off. Take that off. But right now we're fabbing up the bracket for the radiator. So that bolt's right there. It's made a couple little marks there on the radiator. And pull that back out, weld that tab on, and we can bolt the radiator in. And that should be done. We gotta swap this coupler down here because we got the bigger intercooler piping. So that's probably what we're gonna do next is start welding aluminum. So get that going, slap that back in, and then we'll start fabbing up the new upper intercooler pipe. Well, crap, you guys. I'm gonna go start welding this thing on there, and it was like welding like crap. It was getting contaminated, so I was like, all right, let me stop. Let me clean everything real good, wiped it down with acetone, fixed the tungsten, grinded all that. And as I was putting everything back together, I noticed this. So I didn't notice it when I first started welding, but it's kind of hard to tell if I can focus this. The damn my TIG torch broke after, I don't know, I think I've had this thing like 6-7 years. Finally split. So this is like this is the flex head. So I must have flexed it too much. So luckily this is the WP17F. These are only like 12 bucks on Amazon. So I'll have one here tomorrow. So that puts a halt to the fabrication stuff as far as welding, but we still got plenty of other stuff to do, so I guess we're going to switch into wiring mode. So with us switching to CO2, we got to run 2 boost controllers. So I already got 1 electronic boost controller, but I got to run wires from the ECU now out for another boost controller. So we'll get that set up, and then we got to figure out where we're going to mount the EGT box, which is going to be somewhere inside the car. Got to see how long the wires are for that. So we got tons of stuff to do. Just got to switch modes. I was into, just wanted to get like the engine based stuff, the radiator and like the upper intercooler piping and all that stuff built. But it is what it is. So I'll have to hold on while I won tomorrow, but we're back to work tomorrow. So I have to probably start getting some stuff done after work throughout the week. I want to get this thing done by next weekend. So as long as all the parts, the rest of the part that I'm waiting on is that water neck. But so switch into wiring mode and let's get some stuff wired up. Finally, the parts from Amazon showed up. I was waiting on this little T for the boost controller to tee them together. So I got it mounted to this cool little bracket so we can continue getting the boost controller set up. So decided I'm gonna find a little spot for it down here on this little rail. I'm just gonna mount it like right there. So I still gotta do the wire loom and then get the connectors on that end, and then I gotta come over here and put the connectors on this end. So at least when these are these got connectors on it, if I ever have to swap boost controllers for some reason, if one fails or something, then I mean I just have to toss a connector on the new boost controller. So but we're gonna wrap up real quick. We'll get all this mounted, and then I still got to go get CO2 bottles, and then we can get that line ran from the CO2 bottle inside the car to the boost controller, and then the boost controllers will be 100%. Also, new TIG torch came in, so got that guy all swapped out. This thing's around like, I think $8 I got on Amazon for a new WP17F, so hopefully this one does good. So I got that all swapped out. So we can finish also, we can finish welding this bracket on there, and then the radiator can get set back in, and then so later in the video we'll start mocking up and getting the new intercooler piping built. So yeah, making progress. Should have a new little fun toy showing up later today too, so if it makes it in this video I'll show you guys about it, but it might be in the next video, so I'm excited for that. So that's what we got going on. So time lapse, I guess. Fire those up. Let's get it rocking. And just like that, just connect some connectors on the boost controller. In real time, I don't know, it took 10 minutes or whatever. So those look good. Wire loomed, heat shrinked. They look, as I like to say, juicy. So now we'll get over here to excuse me, the car, and we'll get the connectors and stuff on that one. And then yeah, I mean we can get this guy mounted now to the car. So making progress, you guys. We'll move cameras over there and keep knocking stuff out. Well, we were supposed to start on the wiring off the car, but I got to dismounting the boost controller, and then I got sidetracked with rerouting all the vacuum lines. So those are all good. So we got the compressor. So for a two boost controller CO2 car boost control setup, you need to make sure that the turbo is going into the bottom of the wastegates. So on my car, we got it coming off. I put this, I don't know if you guys are watching my other videos, but I have an issue with like this line melting just because of it's tucked in close to, like, man, that wastegate gets hot and stuff. So I got this heat shield over it, and that's been, obviously that's fixed the problem. So this is a boost line going from here, and then I got it routing over into this T here, and then from the T it splits off and goes into each bottom of the wastegate, since I got a dual wastegate setup. So the other port is back there. And then now I just got done running the line from the firewall, which it's this one right here, right there, into the car, because obviously the CO2 bottle is going to be behind where the passenger seat is. I got that line ran up along here, put a bracket there, and then I got it routed up along here with the rest of the lines. And then that goes into the bottom. So I guess this is like number one. This is the increase solenoid. This is a decrease solenoid. So that's why the line's going into the increase solenoid. And then this one vents based off of, you know, what you want your boost to be. So anyway, so then the CO2 comes, it's teed off between here, and then same thing, I got it going into a T right there, and then that splits off to the top of the gates. So obviously the more CO2 you put on the top of the gates stay shut, the more boost the turbo makes. So yeah, which I was able to get rid of one T how I had it set up before with just a single wastegate and using the compressor as like I guess the reference for boost control also. So kind of simplified the lines here a little bit. Down the road on the next chassis, on the GSX chassis, this is the Talon chassis, the TSI chassis. But when I start building that one, you know, we're going to do the front end's going to be different because we're going to have a forward facing turbo down here. But once we build that, we're just going to have a single gate. We'll just do one single gate, and at that point we'll see how long down the road it is. We may go electronic wastegate, and if we go electronic wastegate, then we don't need all this CO2 stuff. But we'll see. There's still some issues with the electronic wastegate stuff. There's a couple guys that have ran it, and that I've known that they've gone back to like the CO2 boost control. So I mean, the stuff's only been out, I think, for a couple years now, the electronic stuff. But there's one dude that I know, Aaron. He's been running on a Subaru. If you guys haven't seen that thing, it's Slowbaru is what it's called. But he's been running the electronic wastegate, and he hasn't really had any issues with it. So I mean, but that's one in how many cases. You know, I know Jamie from PFI's tried it, and if you guys have seen that video, that did not go very well. I think that's the one where he split the block in half because electronic wastegate decided to send all the boost. And then Murder Nova, I know from Street Outlaws, he was running electronic wastegates on one of his builds, and he was just having issues and stuff with them. And that's what, even with Fuel Tech, you know, like supporting them and like giving them all the info, and they were still having issues with the electronic wastegates. Like I said, that was a year or 2 years ago or whatever. But I still haven't really seen too many successful setups with electronic wastegate, which sucks though, because that thing it's nice. You don't have to have all these freaking lines and everything, man. You just, you know, you're just having the ECU control the wastegate, and those got position sensors, and they're pretty sweet. So I don't know. I said maybe down the road, once we get the forward facing setup, we may go electronic. If not, we're for sure going down to one wastegate, because this dual wastegate stuff, it's kind of a pain. But the manifold's looking good though. Like I said, since last season, you know, I welded in the E-maps, which are down there, and like I said, now we got the EGTs all plumbed in. So so much more data. So we got the dome pressure reference off of here. I put it over here as opposed to teeing it off, which I did this last year just because I was having boost issues and I wanted to see what the top was seeing. I mean, you only really need this dome pressure when your CO2. I mean, but it was nice seeing how much boost was going to the top, because then that way I knew like the boost controllers and stuff were working. But I put it in here because it's just easier for the wiring, just to go back to the car, as opposed to having to wire it up way over here. I mean, I guess it would not have been too complex, but then I would have had another T off of here, and just it works back there. Same difference, man. It's the same difference. T'ing off there, t'ing over here. So I just got to pick up CO2 bottles, and then we'll have to deal with the inside of the car later. But we have enough hose just going in the cabin to plumb into the CO2 bottle once I pick one of those up. So now we're going to continue doing what we were supposed to be doing, and let's get the boost control solenoids wired up and get the connectors on there. So let's rock that up. And knock those out pretty quick. Helps to have all the tools that you need right here. So just for quick reference, I put an I and a D on there for the increased solenoid and then the decreased solenoid. I'm probably gonna unplug these and put the same thing, I and D, just so that way they don't get crisscrossed if they get unplugged and get plugged back in a hurry. So that way they know where they go. So knock the stuff out. So yeah, we'll kind of get this cleaned up, zip tied up nice and tight, and then I think it's time to move on to welding. We'll get the radiator welded up, get that dropped in there, so that way we know we have everything in here for when we build the intercooler piping.